Hey guys, a comment here. So let's take a look at this very interesting, very affordable knife by Petrified Fish. So this is actually the first knife I've owned by Petrified Fish. I've always been interested in their designs, especially because of the price point. They're usually right around that like $40 to $50 range, and it seems like you get a pretty good deal for that price. And here I can definitely say that is the case. So what we have is this very cool clip point style blade. It's kind of that classic Bowie design, and it is in K110 blade steel, which my understanding is basically like D2, which I've had very good luck with D2. A little bit prone to corrosion, however, it does hold a very nice edge for the price you usually get D2 at. It does have this little notch cut out here too for a reverse flick, which is very cool. I kind of wish that notch was on both sides. I think that would have looked a little better, but again, for the price, right around $45. Man, this thing is just, this is sweet. This is a pretty stout, robust knife for not a lot of money, and I really enjoy it. So it's got a nice flat grind here that comes up a little bit more than halfway up the blade. Very cool swedges up here, and a little bit of jimping there for your thumb, so it really locks you in nicely. You can actually choke up a little bit on this flipper tab, but not a whole lot of room for your finger there. And it actually does give you a pretty decent sharpening choil as well. So you can definitely sharpen this several times without getting up into that plunge cut. And the edge that came on this was pretty decent. Nothing crazy, but pretty sharp edge. Definitely good enough for anyone, for your typical EDC tasks. But I did strop this up when I first got it, and yeah, it's dropped up quite nicely. That's another thing about D2 or K110 is that it sharpens fairly easily. It strops up very nicely, and it takes a crazy edge. I've had several D2 knives, and yeah, the edge that you can put on them pretty quickly is very impressive. So you can see this particular model has the black coated blade, which I think looks pretty good. Somewhat of kind of a tumbled finish on there, but yeah, it just looks very nice. Minimal billboarding as well. You've just got this kind of V there. It does say K110, and it's got kind of a, I think maybe like a model number on there or something, but yeah, kind of cool. Not a whole lot of billboarding there. And then you've got this Petrified Fish logo on the pivot, which I think looks really good. This also has the black micarta, which looks and feels quite nice, especially for the price. For 45 bucks, I think the micarta is pretty decent quality. You can tell in some areas why this might not be a super high-end knife. Some of the fit and finish is not perfect, although it is pretty good. But you can see how the micarta is kind of pulling away there where the pocket clip goes, and this is actually a reversible pocket clip. Nice thick micarta back spacer as well, with some very interesting kind of jimping and notches cut in there. I think that looks pretty cool. Ergonomics are quite nice. This really fills out the hand nicely. This is a liner lock, and it does actually have incredible action. So this knife, it's probably mostly because of the weight of the blade, but this thing just drops shut so nicely. I mean, you really got to move your thumb out of the way. Thankfully, that flipper tab stops it from actually biting your thumb, but it drops quite nicely, and it just slams shut, and the tuning is just perfect. That flipper tab, it's very hard to fail this knife, and it is kind of like a push button, but it works extremely well. You can see that you've got kind of minimal hardware. You've got one body screw there, a couple of pocket clip screws there, depending on which side you want to put that pocket clip on. And then one nice thing is that you have a single-sided screw on that pivot, so you're not going to require two tools to take this apart. And I would imagine it's running on bearings. I'm going to say bearings because of how drop shutty this thing is. And I do want to mention that lockup is rock solid. So a very solid, robust knife here. We'll go ahead and get a size comparison up against some of my typical knives. The Spyderco, nice. All right, it's been a long morning. Spyderco Para 3. So you can see a little bit bigger than the Spyderco Para 3, probably a little bit more in line with the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. So definitely a nice size knife. I'm actually surprised how close that is to the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Yeah, definitely a big knife. And then we'll go ahead and compare it up against another knife that you're most likely familiar with, and that is the Spyderco Civivi Elementum. So definitely bigger than the Elementum. We are looking at, let's see, a little bit over 3¼ inches on the cutting edge, and then about 3½ inches on the blade overall. And then let's get a full measurement on this knife. So you're looking at, yeah, just a hair over 8 inches. And man, you just get so much knife for that price. With D2, it's a good blade steel for that kind of money. You get this nice micarta. It feels excellent. Ridiculous ergonomics. Super comfortable. Very robust. This is one of those knives that if you want a knife that you don't have to worry about messing up, this is going to be a good option. Or if you're on a budget and you want a good, solid, reliable, everyday carry knife, also for you, this would be an excellent option. So if the design speaks to you, if you're interested in checking out something by Petrified Fish, I would definitely recommend this knife. I've really enjoyed it. Haven't given it too much pocket time, but I've definitely used it. I've flipped it a ton, and yeah, it's really, it just impresses me every time I pick it up, what you get for the money. So definitely a good recommendable knife. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, and if you want to see more of my knife, EDC, and occasional garage content, please consider subscribing. Thanks.